was never a day when the expulsion of the Crusaders was not mentioned. But it was not only a military environment, it was a very religious, spiritual environment. And Salahuddin, from a very early age, he became a Hafid of the Quran. He was a Shafi in fiqh, and his greatest aspiration in life was to become a scholar. He loved the scholars. Then he had the honor of being tutored by a man regarding who Ibn Athir rahmatullah alayhi says, the Muslims never had a man who was as upright and caring and compassionate as Nuruddin Zinki rahmatullah alayhi. And Salahuddin would say that Nuruddin is my master. He modeled himself on Nuruddin. And also Nuruddin realized the potential in Salahuddin. And this is why, when in Damascus crime became rife, he made Salahuddin at a very tender age in charge of the entire police of Damascus. And after a while, the Crusaders attacked Egypt. And what Adid, the Caliph in Egypt, did is that he cut the hair of his wife and he sent it to Nuruddin. And this meant that we can no longer look after our women, assist us. And Nuruddin rahmatullah alayhi didn't want to assist them, because see, Al-Adid and the Egyptians were Fatimite. But Shirku, the uncle of Salahuddin, convinced him. And Salahuddin rahmatullah alayhi says, when my uncle came to me to take me to Egypt, I didn't want to go. One, because his aspirations was to become a scholar. But second, he mentions, I thought I was gonna die. It is a possibility that you will dislike something, but there's good in it for you. And by Allah, Salahuddin going, there was good for the ummah. There was good for history. He changed the landscape of history, and Shirku rid Egypt of the Crusaders. And shortly after this, Adid remained the Caliph, but Shirku became second in charge. After a while, Shirku passed away, and the ulama and the fuqaha, they chose Salahuddin rahmatullah alayhi as in the place of Shirku. And therefore Salahuddin rahmatullah alayhi became the second most powerful man in Egypt. He was only 32 at the time. And Salahuddin showed what a real leader should be. The people loved Salahuddin. He won their heart. He was a true leader. He showed love and compassion to people. Salahuddin was in Egypt, and Nuruddin rahmatullah alayhi was in Syria. Now after Nuruddin passed away, Syria just fragmented, and they began to side with the Crusaders, and many of them were giving annual tributes. They were actually giving annual tributes to the Crusaders. And the people of Syria were disgusted, because they were used to a man like Nuruddin, a powerful, charismatic man. And the people of Syria, they turned to Salahuddin rahmatullah alayhi. And this was the time that Salahuddin started on his expeditions. Salahuddin rahmatullah alayhi spent longer fighting Muslims than he did non-Muslims. He fought with Muslims for over 10 years, because he understood that if you are divided, you are weak. Many of them sided with the Crusaders, and they released a man who was the greatest arch enemy of Islam, a man called Reginald de Chatillon. For 15 years this man had been in prison. Nuruddin had left him in the dungeons. And what did this man do? Soon as he mustered up an army, he marched on Makkah. And na'udhu billah, he was saying, when I reach Makkah, I will bring the Kaaba to the ground. And then na'udhu billah, he said, I will go to Medina. And na'udhu billah, I will take the camel